Ian Richard Kyle Paisley had the most extraordinary career in Northern Ireland politics.
And we are going to keep the thoroughfares open for our Protestant faith and our Protestant heritage.
From militant preacher and street protester
No surrender!
to occupying the highest political office in the land.
Never! Never! Never!
From raucous outsider to genial partner in government, his was a life lived in the public eye.
In recent times, only one region has been plagued by that old mix of Christian division and violence. Like the wars of the Reformation, there were always many factors here in Northern Ireland, but the religious divide was always woven into this deadly conflict. Here, people are 3 times more likely to go to church regularly than they are in modern, godless England. And more than that, they mark their differences on the streets. Every year, the Orange Order celebrates its devotion to fervent Protestantism. Religious zeal is also found in the corridors of power. Northern Ireland's former First Minister, Dr. Ian Paisley, is the founder of his own Protestant church. He believes the Reformation was a breakthrough that freed Christianity from the corruptions of Roman Catholicism.
The Roman Catholic Church believes that she is the supreme church, and if you're not a member of her, you're not in the book, as it were. I mean, I don't believe that. I believe that Christianity's basis is a personal relationship to Jesus Christ, rather than relationships to churches.
But don't you regret how the Reformation worked out in practice?
I don't think the Reformation was responsible for that. I think that was the reaction of the Roman Catholic Church to retain her position.
Solely?
Yeah, well, there was resistance to it.
You think that the violence of the Reformation was solely down to the Catholic Church?
Well, I think they started it.
You attacked the Pope quite strongly in the European Parliament.
First of all,
indeed, you proclaimed him to be the Antichrist.
Say how much I...
Mr. Paisley.
Is that still your position?
Do I believe in the Reformed faith position? Yes, I do.
No. Do you believe the Pope is the Antichrist?
Yes, what it says in the Confession of Faith, I signed it when I was ordained, that the Pope is that man of sin, that son of perdition. I believe the Reformed faith, and they identify the Pope as the Antichrist, and I accept that.
For the second time, Mr. Paisley.
Do you regard the Pope as the enemy?
Well, yes, I would say. I would say that Romanism is not good for the country, and it's not good for the world. It's not good for me. The scriptures tell us that so-called friends are probably secret enemies.
Ian Paisley was born in 1926 in uncertain times, just 5 years after Ireland was partitioned and governments established in Belfast and Dublin. His father James, a Baptist minister in Armagh City, had been a member of Edward Carson's Ulster Volunteer Force, opposed to independence for Ireland. The political environment in the early 1920s was still volatile, as Ian Paisley's father was to find out.
He was a very jolly, very happy man. And he had a little Austin 6 car, which was quite a car. And he went round the country visiting and preaching. And after my birth, he was out visiting one night, and he ran into 50 men, all armed, on the roadside, and they pulled him out of his thing and put him against the wall and were going to shoot him. They were gunmen who wanted a united Ireland and thought that my father was a danger to that.
Would they have known him?
Oh, he was well known. My father was very well known. And then a man came in and he said, how dare you touch this man? His wife has just had their second child, and it would be very unlucky to us if we did this. So they had a conference and they decided to let him go if he never would mention what he had seen. So the reason he got away was me, because I had been born.
So you were the little miracle that arrived and saved his life.
That's right. Amazing.
At the age of 2, Ian Paisley's family moved from Armagh to Ballymena, where his father was appointed minister to Hill Street Baptist Church. It was his Scottish-born mother Isabella, however, who was responsible for his evangelical conversion.
I was converted at a meeting that my mother was conducting among children. She was speaking on the Good Shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. And I was touched greatly at that time, although I was only 6 years of age. And at the end of the meeting, I said to my mother, I wouldn't like to be a lost sheep. I'd rather be a saved lamb. And she said, let's go down into the church. So we went down into the church, and it was at that seat that my mother got me to kneel and appointed me to Christ.
What about holidays? Did you go on holidays?
Oh, yes, we always went on holidays.
Where did you go?
The place we went was Cologne, outside Warmpoint.
Did you ever journey southwards? Did you ever go down to Carlingford or places like that?
Oh, yes, I went to Carlingford.
Did you naturally come in contact with local Catholics there, if you were down on holidays and that?
I did,
And did you mingle easily?
Oh, yes. We played together, we did, and they went with me and the boys on the 12th of July to Warmpoint, and then we all went on August Day with them to their place.
So did you march with the Hibernians for the crack?
No, I never let me in. They didn't let me in.
After leaving school, the 16-year-old Ian Paisley went to work on the farm of a family friend, George Watson, in County Tyrone.
I learned to plough, I learned to sow, I learned the running of a farm. The Bible entered my mind very much when I was there. And I remember one day out in the field, I stopped the ploughing and I got down on my knees. And I told the Lord that I was willing to go where He wanted me to go, to say what He wanted me to say, and to be a preacher of the gospel.
In 1959, you spoke of the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret in the following words when they had an audience with the Pope.
Yes.
You accused them of committing spiritual fornication and adultery with the Antichrist. Wasn't that extraordinary in tone?
That was the language of Luther. That was the language of Calvin. That was the language of Protestantism. And I have no apology to make for being a Protestant.
Ian Paisley's attacks on the Catholic Church were becoming ever more confrontational.
The mouthpiece for these accusations, Northern Ireland's militant Protestant leader, the Reverend Ian Paisley. Denounced in turn as Adolf Paisley by Catholic opponents, he was the focal point of the demonstration.
In 1962, he even took his protests against Catholicism to the Vatican.
I mean, they were trying to sell the thing that the Reformation was a mistake. There's no Reformation Protestants now. There's no men that believe the Bible only the religion of Protestants. And they were very active, and and the time had come for a stand to be taken.
Also in 1966, Ian Paisley launched his own newspaper, the Protestant Telegraph, to spread his political and religious message. His firebrand oratory in attacking the Catholic Church was uncompromising.
And we are going to keep the thoroughfares open for our Protestant faith and our Protestant heritage.
Mr. Paisley, you reported after a rally as saying the following: Catholic homes caught fire because they were loaded with petrol bombs. Catholic churches were attacked and burned because they were arsenals, and priests handed out submachine guns to parishioners. Did you say that? Did you believe that?
I have no memory of saying that, but it was true that there were guns in the churches, and it was true that there was men in the Roman Catholic churches who used the churches as a safe place to hide.
But were you directly implicating priests in concealing guns in churches and giving cover to IRA men in churches?
I said what I said. I have nothing to add to it.
Neither the Anglo-Irish Agreement nor the Loyalist protests succeeded in curbing IRA violence in Northern Ireland or Britain. The bombing of a Remembrance Day service in Enniskillen was the most notorious of many atrocities in this period. Nevertheless, the government was prepared to embark on secret talks with the IRA. But this did not stop the IRA taking its campaign to the heart of government. The cabinet itself had a narrow escape when Downing Street was attacked with mortar bombs.
I think it was a crowner for the IRA. They did well out of it, so that they could go right in and do that. I thought it should have put more of a strength into the muscle of the cabinet to go out and deal with the IRA the way they should have been dealt with.
But the British government steadfastly kept the lines of communication open to the Republican leadership. Eventually, this led to the IRA's ceasefire in the summer of 1994. Jim Molyneux, the leader of the Ulster Unionist Party at that point in time, said of the IRA's ceasefire, "It was the worst thing that ever happened to us." Did you share that view at that time?
Yes, certainly.
Why did no unionists see any merit in that IRA ceasefire announcement at that time?
Well, I think that the people had been so let down that they had no trust in the British government getting us a proper road to getting out of the killings and getting out of the agitations made to try and destroy what our forefathers had fought for and died for.
Meanwhile, a roadmap to peace had been identified, and Ian Paisley would be asked to swallow even tougher medicine. With the full-blown intervention of London, Dublin and Washington in the affairs of Northern Ireland, protracted talks chaired by US Senator George Mitchell resulted in the signing of the Good Friday Agreement in 1998.
I'm pleased to announce that the two governments and the political parties of Northern Ireland have reached agreement.
Ian Paisley's great political rival, David Trimble, the leader of the Ulster Unionist Party, agreed a deal giving Republicans seats in government and guaranteeing that all paramilitary prisoners would be set free within 2 years. As the final touches were being put to the agreement, Ian Paisley and members of his party brought their opposition to the heart of the talks at Stormont.
Let me say to you tonight. Let me.
Ian, where are you taking us? Ian, where are you going to take us?
The Grando to New York, Mark 1 and Mark 2.
See,
not to Dublin anyhow.
Well, I wish you would walk out.
You're not taking on.
No.
Yes, 71.12%.
The people of Ireland, North and South, ratified the outcome of the Good Friday Agreement in a referendum just over a month later. Ian Paisley was once more on the outside.
At that moment in time, how did you feel as an outsider? Did you feel disturbed?
No.
Isolated? Alone?
No, because the official unionists were divided on the issue, very much divided.
What was wrong with that deal? Why did you not accept such a deal?
Because you don't sign a deal that's going to, in the end, destroy you.
Of the Good Friday Agreement, you said it was the greatest betrayal ever foisted by a unionist leader on the unionist people.
That's right.
Is that how you saw it?
That's what it was. It was a selling out of all that we stood for and all that our fathers died for. And the people I was speaking for were the people who gave their lives in 2 world wars to keep us in a place of freedom.